Hello, I'm Neil Dealey, co-founder and partner of Architects and Urban Planners Metropolitan Workshop. Welcome to Reshaped, a podcast series to mark our 15th year and to record perspectives on how the built environment is changing and needs to change in this historic moment. We asked leading thinkers and doers to respond to issues highlighted by the pandemic while we're in the throes of change, and memories and perspectives are fresh. Has the door opened to a new era? We think so. Berlin's cooperative co-housing movement has a long tradition. Its roots stem from the city's post-war partition. But the last 10 years have seen a rampant gentrification and rapidly rising rents and capital values limiting opportunities for new co-housing projects. The pandemic, however, has highlighted the resilience and social value of co-housing. It has also exposed limitations of seeing housing simply as a commodity controlled by capitalism, rather than as something which holds society together, a view shared by many in the UK. Michael LaFond, a co-housing activist, is founder of the Spreefeld co-housing development in Berlin, where he lives in one quite large apartment that he shares with 22 other people.
Since about 10 years, I've been working with the Spreefeld Housing Cooperative. This is the new cooperative in Berlin. We've been on our way over the last decade developing a new neighborhood as part of the larger city. What are we doing here? Well, I would say we're practicing a local direct democracy. We're busy with exploring what could be called sustainable housing. And this is meant to include both social and ecological dimensions. This has to do with encouraging community. Of course, this involves sharing and this big challenge of resilience. For example, in our smaller communities, what we call sub-projects. I live, for example, together with about 22 others in one of these shared flat communities. So we share a kitchen, living room, washing machines, a bathtub, cars, tools, and so on. Yeah, so the situation in Berlin has changed dramatically over the last 10 years. When we started the Spreefeld Cooperative, Berlin was still, let's say it was coming out of the phase of being a playground for a lot of people, meaning it was relatively easy to start an ambitious project like this, meaning find land, get financing, and so on. So we're some of the last of the lucky ones, I would say, who were able to find a piece of land in downtown Berlin, in fact, on the river. And with this self-organization strategy, really develop a new neighborhood for ourselves, for each other, and for others. We're coming out of what Berlin was, and we're moving into what Berlin is becoming, which is a gentrified city, a place of exploding land values, rising rents, a place where a lot of people are having a difficult time even finding an affordable apartment at all, let alone really starting a co-housing community or a new housing cooperative. What's really the most important for us? Is it what we can call the use value or the quality of life in our homes, or is the emphasis shifted over to what could be called the profit value or increasing quantities of money? A general or a crude comparison could be made between what I call co-housing or what others call co-living. And a lot of it comes down to really fundamentally the ownership question. So what's the driving motivation of developing and managing housing? Is it really to give people a stable home, a secure place to live, a place where community can be developed, where experiences, where spaces can be shared, where people can practice what could be called solidarity and resilience, or is the driving motivation really to make a profit on it? As we know, in London as well as Berlin and a good part of this world, we've moved into what can be called a time of crisis, and we're talking about Corona or about COVID, but we're also talking about the climate crisis, and I think it's fair to say we've got an ongoing housing crisis as well, or otherwise a crisis of inequality. Um, so the important thing is really to put housing in this context. Housing is also thought of as homes. So where we spend a lot of our life, a place we identify with, and a place that hopefully gives us support during times of crisis. And in this time of crisis, and I don't think we're going to be coming out of this time of the crisis anytime really soon, I'm convinced that it's not just affordable housing, but housing that, again, can allow or encourage community is going to be more and more treasured and sought after. So, yeah, I think that there's something going on with community housing, collaborative housing, cooperative housing that is going to be more and more important as the next months and years move forward. One thing you can see happening in both London, in fact, there you're further ahead than we are in Berlin, in response to that crisis of gentrification, you've got the development of what's called the community land trust. So in fact, here in Berlin, we're learning from people over in London and other European cities, as well as American cities. So this means connecting community-led housing with community-owned and community-managed land. So what does this mean? Decommodification of housing. It means getting support from local government or national or federal level government to help provide access to land and financing. So in effect, shifting the whole housing market. So this means we as people can't wait for architects or politicians to give us housing. We as part of the civil society in our respective neighborhood and city need to take steps to develop our own housing. This may seem radical to people who have no experience with this, but I think that's the only way to look at it for the long term. Developing things like cooperatives, community land trusts, co-housing projects, and basically through our organizing, getting our governments to understand and support this. So it's a political question.
That was Michael LaFond. Berlin's experience of becoming a developer's playground has renewed appeals for more support for co-housing, a form of housing that is not driven by profit, but by social value, and one that encompasses and expresses ecological concerns and the economic and social needs of residents. The market has all but extinguished the opportunity for this form of housing despite its increasing popularity. The ability for its residents to support each other in a variety of ways, especially during the pandemic, has forged strong communities. He argues people cannot wait for architects and politicians to deliver the homes they want. They will increasingly demand co-housing. And that is a political question that needs answering with support in the form of money and land, in Berlin and we hope here in the UK. You can listen to other podcasts in the Reshape series at all the major providers, or go to our website, metwork.co.uk. Series directed by Lee Mallet, produced by David Michon and Justina Green, recorded and edited by Sean Crook.